All right, if you haven't done this already, we want you guys to look at your biological age. So if you have your phone with you, scan this QR code. It'll take you to a short quiz that asks you a few questions. And it'll give you an idea of, based upon the lifestyle you're living right now, how is your body aging on the inside? And the goal is to have this number be lower than your actual chronological age. And what we're going to be talking about today is how do we get that number lower? Slow down that aging process and increase your longevity. So if you haven't done this already and you don't know your age, make sure to scan this. It's been a couple of minutes because we're going to be talking a lot about this today, and it's important to know your number. Has anybody already done this? Where numbers higher or lower than you expected? For most people, the number is higher, a majority. On average, from what I've seen, probably anywhere from 6 to 12 years over their actual age is most commonly what I see. And the goal, when we did it with a lot of our team members, is that our number was actually lower, which is great because we live exactly what we teach. So we'll be helping you lower that number this year. So the next time you look at it, it's going to be a lower number. So as we're filling that out, I want to share a story. And this is a story like many people who come into our office, especially those in their 40s, 50s, and beyond. Kim was struggling with weight issues. She was over 45 pounds overweight of what she wanted to be. She was struggling with chronic pain that was limiting her activities, struggling with digestive issues, had to have her gallbladder removed, struggling with hormonal imbalances, which is also common with women of those ages, and had tried everything she could on her own to find a solution. Nothing worked. She'd done everything the medical system had to offer. She'd done the drugs. She'd obviously done surgery. She tried all the interventions. None of that fixed her problem. She came into the office looking for something different, which you all know, that's what we offer, something different than what doctors recommend, different than what even other natural providers recommend. We were able to assess what was really going on in her body and find the true interferences, the real underlying causes, from subluxation to metabolic imbalances to lifestyle stresses, and help create a plan for her to start turning that around. And in 6 months, she lost near 40 pounds, following the system that we helped put together for her, through her chiropractic care, through her nutrition care, through following a very specific metabolic reset system. She was able to drop 9% body fat, which is amazing in that period of time. Her chronological age was 8 years over what she currently was when she started. And by the time she was done, it was 17 years younger than her chronological age. These are exactly what we're going to be talking about here today, following the system that we're going to be talking about here today that's available to each and every one of you. These results are not atypical. They're common when following a very specific type of system. Now she has her health freedom back. She's not in chronic pain anymore. She's back to exercising, hiking. One of her concerns was she didn't feel comfortable in her skin, where now she does like she's her real self again. That's what gets me excited about sharing this type of information. That's exactly why we do what we do. And the true fact is that many people don't experience that. When you look at the real stats, right now, 1 in 3 Americans over 65 are at risk for diabetes. Diabetes, which is the leading risk factor for every chronic disease there is, and is going to take years and years off your life. It's going to cost you tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical expenses. 1 in 3, isn't that crazy? In just the last 80 years, it went from 1 in 300 to 1 in 3, a 100x increase due to our modern American lifestyle. 90% of people who struggle to lose weight have some type of metabolic imbalance. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Where are these metabolic imbalances coming from? And that shows up in many different ways. Many disorders are linked to metabolism. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, diabetes, thyroid issues, hormone imbalances, cancer, liver disease, arthritis, pain, and so much more. So you see these lists here. Even if you don't have these, you know people who do. Your neighbors, your coworkers, your friends, your family members, people you go to church with, the groups you're a part of, they're struggling with these. Statistics show they have to be. 88% of Americans are suffering from some type of metabolic issue and they may not even know it. That's almost 9 out of 10. 1 out of 3 have diagnosable issues. 5 out of 6 Americans are dying early from chronic lifestyle-related diseases. Much of this is preventable, within your control, if you just decide to do something different. Health isn't bad luck. It's not your genes. It's not a destined future for you. It's a series of choices. Every day we get to make a choice in how we take care of our health, the things that we do, the people that we see, where we invest our time, energy, and money. You're either investing in the things that are helping you build your health or that are contributing to the breakdown of disease process. That's your choice. And many people, their choices lead them to the medical system trying to find an answer that they're not getting. They're getting diagnosed with metabolic disorders, chronic diseases. They're getting prescribed medications to treat or manage the symptom of these diseases that were created from their lifestyle. And as that's not working, more advanced intervention, surgeries, injections, dealing with the problems. And as we've been adding more and more medical intervention, have we been getting healthier or sicker? Sicker. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. So the only thing that can change is what you choose to do each day, the choices you make day to day. And that's the difference between the disease model, which most people are used to. That's going about your day, waiting for things to show up, treating it, medicating it, managing it when it does, medically, versus the health model. The health model is taking control of your own health, taking responsibility, making choices each day to build your health rather than build disease. That's what we're going to talk about today. Many people are here because they don't want to exist in that medical disease model anymore. They want to do something different. That's what we call health freedom. So today we want to think about, what does health freedom look like for you? What does health freedom look like when you're 70? What does health freedom look like when you're 80, when you're 90 and beyond? The choices you make today determine what that's going to look like. You don't show up at 80 and hope for the best. You do things now so that when you are 80, you can do what you want to do. So at age 30, you lose about 8% of your strength and power per decade. 8%. So that's why if you're not doing something different, as people are like, oh, when I was 20, that was easy. Well, that's because physiologically your body will age if you're not doing specific things to counteract that. So by the time you're 50, 60, 70, your physical capacity is so much less. Your ability to walk, jog, run a mile, 2, 5, 10, go on a hike, play with your grandkids, go on vacation is going to be limited if you're not actively working towards improving it. So if you want to go on a 2-mile hike at 80, you need to be able to do double that when you're 50. That's how that equation works. So how many 50-year-olds are able to go on a 4-mile hike? Not a lot. Either because they don't have the physiological capacity, they have pain or other issues limiting them, they don't have the desire to be able to do it, or other health challenges. A small majority of people at 50 can easily just go on a 4-mile hike today. We want to be able to change that. So when you think about it, what does your health freedom look like for you? We talked about this at our last workshop in January. Helped you define and create a plan for your health freedom. If you were here, are you following that plan? If not, I want you to think about that today. Picture that man, that woman at 70, at 80, at 90. What does health freedom look like for you? What do you look like? What do you feel like? What is your day-to-day habits? Are you just surviving or are you thriving? Are other people your age healthier or worse off than you? Are you able to do the activities you want to do? Is there limitations that you've put aside and accepted the fact that you're just getting older? Are you taking the steps necessary to get there? That's the most important question. When you have that clear vision, you do what's necessary to get there. And what would it look like if it were easy? This is such an important question. What would it look like to have health freedom at 90 and it were easy? Many people don't do the healthy things they know they should because it seems too hard. It's too hard to work out regularly. It's too hard to follow a healthy diet. It's just too hard to make the time necessary to meditate or journal or get the right amount of sleep. It's too hard to ignore all the easy, convenient things and social media and the news and all the stresses and interference that surround us. It's just too hard. But you know what's really hard is being sick. Because being hard is being in pain. Being hard is being in and out of the hospital, taking drugs every single day, seeing your loved ones pass away, or be the one who maybe is passing away early and seeing the suffering that causes around you because you didn't make the right choices. That's hard. Getting up and going for a walk, that's not that hard. It's just a matter of choice. The 5 essentials are all about choices. It's a simple pathway to live your life, to slow down and reverse the aging process, to set yourself up for success. It's the pathway, the recipe to your health freedom. So we're going to talk about more things you can do in the 5 essentials today to lower your biological age. Sound good? Everybody get their number? Not yet? We're still working on it? I recommend you take this sheet here, page 3, the 5 essentials, and post it somewhere where you see it every day. And ask yourself a simple question. Am I showing up in the 5 essentials? What am I doing today to improve in one or all of these categories? And again, it can be simple. You can do a simple thing for each of these every single day. It's just a choice. When we went through the health workshop in January, talking about how to create success in goals, it was less than 5 to 6% of the population that could follow even just 5 health goals. 5 habits. Over 95% of our population can't follow 5 habits for their health. That seems relatively easy, right? 5? Can we all handle 5? That's the 5 essentials. What's one habit I can do each day to improve in these areas? Things that affect your metabolism, your hormones the most: exercise, nutrition, and your nervous system. So we're going to talk about all 3 of these today. Things you can do immediately to start changing this. And we're going to have 30-day habit creator that we're going to be able to do. And everyone that came here today, you're going to get emailed a 58-page document that talks all about how to implement these habits right away. Simple, easy, with everything you already have. Sound good? All right. So we have all kinds of shortcuts that are out there nowadays. There's the new miracle pill, the new miracle injection. You don't have to do anything and just lose weight. You can just sit at home, take this drug, and you're going to meet all of your goals. Now, do we think that if there's some kind of miracle drug or shot or procedure, that it comes without side effects? No, there's always going to be side effects. There is no shortcut to being healthy. And in fact, if we're being honest, there's no shortcut to anything in your life. You may get temporary benefits from taking the easy road, but it's always going to lead to bigger problems over time. And I think we all inherently know this, but our brains are set up for the least resistant path. That's just how we are. Physiologically, we're designed to survive. We're designed to take the road least resistance. Make it easy. So when your mindset is easy, you're going to do it more often. The problem with a lot of people is the things they know they should do, they make it really hard. It's really hard. It's so difficult to be able to do. Again, what if it were easy? What if losing weight were easy without taking a drug or an injection? Well, it can be with doing the right things. When you look at some of these drugs that are out there, it does have side effects. When you take one of these GLP-1s, it slows the gastric process in your body. It mimics processes that should happen in a healthy lifestyle. When you eat healthy foods, when you exercise regularly, when you have good lifestyle habits, your body naturally produces the proteins and peptides that improve your digestion and help improve your metabolism, where you lose weight. The problem is people don't want to change their lifestyle, so they do that artificially, and it causes damage, slowing down your gastric process so much that you get a 9 times increased risk for pancreatitis and other metabolic issues that go along with it. And it's non-specific. So you may lose weight, but you can also lose muscle mass, you can lose brain and neural tissue, and it can cause other stresses. And once you're doing it, once you stop, everything comes back because you didn't actually change anything. So now people who lost weight are stuck in this cycle where they have to stay on it. And they're spending $300, $400, $500 a month just continuing the injections or the pills so they don't go back to where they were before. So definitely it's important to lose weight, but do it in a healthy way. So the real miracle drug is actually exercise. What if you just took one of these every day and you started changing that? We're going to talk about why this is so beneficial. when you look at the benefits of exercise, regular aerobic muscle fitness is one of the biggest indicators of longevity for both your heart and for your brain. And what happens to most people when they get older? What breaks down first? Their body and their mind. So if we can prevent breaking down your body and your mind, your aging process completely changes. Left unattended, research shows that both those areas will decline. If you follow the regular American lifestyle, it's going to increase that decline and cause more and more damage, which is why we see the physical and neurological breakdown diseases so high. Alzheimer's, dementia, physical issues, heart disease, right? Those are the top issues when it comes to long-term health. Increasing from 0 to 90 minutes decreases all-cause mortality by 20%. If you just exercise 90 minutes a week, you're decreasing a risk of chronic disease and early death by 20%. Is that pretty simple? 90 minutes, adding years to your life.
Even doing like physical therapy exercises like with rubber bands?
It could be if it's getting your heart rate up. So you have to get your heart rate up in enough to where you're actually exercising. If it's so low impact that your heart rate stays the same, then you may not be getting the metabolic benefit. When you increase that to 150 minutes, it decreases your risk for heart disease and Alzheimer's, two of the top 5 leading causes of death, by 50%. 150 minutes. That's just 2.5 hours of exercise per week. You have 168 hours. That's like the time of one movie, right? How many movies did you watch this week? How many episodes of Netflix did you watch? Someone will say, I don't have time, and binge watch 2 seasons of Netflix over the course of the weekend. You could have gotten your entire exercise recommendation for the week for less time than you did watching Netflix, watching the news, whatever that may be. So this is part of choices. You can choose to sit there and not exercise and create reasons why you're not able to, or you could choose to get up and do it anyway. That's a choice. When you look at the hormones associated with exercise, you have 2 main hormones. You have anabolic hormones, which are going to be growth hormone, testosterone, and catabolic hormones, which is cortisol, which mostly comes from stress. Let's look at the difference of these 2 hormones. See which one you want. Top one builds muscle, burns fat, increases your metabolism. That means more energy, slowing down the aging process, reversing chronic disease. Cortisol, muscle wasting, retaining and increasing fat, and slowing down your metabolism. Less energy, more risk for metabolic disease, likely dying earlier. So you look at the 2 people here, which is which? Which one do you think has more of the anabolic hormones, right side or left side? Right side. What about the left side? Probably more cortisol, right? That's what we look at. So when you look at the types of exercise, this is more of a long distance marathon type runner. Now, not every endurance athlete looks like this, but some do. If you're doing only that type of activity, if you're just doing slow, long duration exercise, well, that actually releases negative hormones like cortisol. So it causes muscle wasting, slower metabolism, which is exactly what you need if you want to run 50 miles. You don't want a lot of extra muscle mass. You don't want a lot of digestion happening. You want everything to slow down. But that's not the health route. So when you think about how you move your body, this is important. The types of exercise that get the anabolic response are ones that really challenge your body. So this is going to be higher intensity. So if you answer your question, higher intensity exercise is when you're having trouble having a conversation with the person next to you. So if you're going for a walk, you can easily have a conversation. If you're going for a light jog, you're shooting some hoops out on the court, it's pretty easy to have a conversation, talk back and forth. But if you're really working in zone 3, zone 4 of what's possible, you're not able to have a very easy conversation. You're short of breath. It's difficult to do what you do. So getting your body to move to that degree to where it's difficult to have a conversation with the person next to you because you're trying to catch your breath. You're breathing so hard. Your heart's beating so quickly. That's the zone that produces anabolic hormones in your body, like growth hormone like testosterone that builds muscle, that burns fat, that increases your metabolic level. Now you may be thinking, well, I haven't exercised like that in many years. And that's okay. You don't have to start there. You don't go outside right now and get your heart rate up to the highest level possible to where you feel like you're going to pass out. Right? That's not a good idea. But you can build towards that and start challenging yourself to do things more difficult. Doesn't matter what age you are. It might take time to be able to get there, but it's worth it. So when you get into high intensity exercise, and this is short duration, 20, 30 seconds is really all you need to do. Here's some of the benefits. Fat burning, muscle building, regulates your blood sugar. When we talk about diabetes, 1 in 3 Americans, even more, are pre-diabetic. It's more like 1 in 2. Increases your lung capacity, so you get more oxygen. Increases your heart health. Number 1 cause of death in America, heart disease. So just by choosing to exercise and exercising in a specific way, you're taking off the risk factors for all of those. And there's no shortcut for that. Right? Again, there's no pill for exercise. There's no injection for exercise. There's no shortcut. There's no way of getting around it. You got to move your body to be able to do it. So if you want to live longer, you want to feel better, you want to get to your health freedom, number 1 thing, move your body. Move your body consistently. And move your body to a point where it's difficult. It should be challenging. It should be hard. So in that packet you're going to get, it has links to different types of exercises for all levels. So you can go in there and start exercising at home with minimal equipment. You don't need some special trainer or some crazy gym, bunch of stuff that you don't have with the things that you already have. Maybe some light bands or very light, easy weights is all you're really going to need to get into this metabolic conditioning, this high intensity type exercise. So look out for your email. We'll be sending those out tomorrow. We'll also be sending out the 5 essentials assessment so you can actually look at which areas of the 5 essentials you need the most help with. And that'll give you another link to how your body's aging and what's your overall health score. So you'll get both of those emailed to you just as a gift for being here today. The other area we want to focus on is the food you put in your body, the fuel that you're putting in your machine. Now, the standard American diet, you think that's good fuel? No, not good. Literally killing us. It's accelerating the aging process. When we look at processed and ultra-processed food, think of 7-Eleven food. Ultra, super processed, no nutrient value. Look who's at the top. If you can't read that, it says the United States. Number 2 is United Kingdom. Number 3 is Canada, which is connected right to us. Probably get a lot of our food. The very top, United States. So it's no coincidence that we're also at the top for chronic disease, that we're also at the top for the most medications, the most overweight and obese. These are directly correlated together. The types of foods that you eat are correlated with the health of your body and how your body ages. Just a 10%, which is a small amount, a handful of Skittles, a half of a soda, 10% increase in your caloric intake from processed and ultra-processed foods increases your risk of mortality by 14%. Do you think of that when you have a can of soda? You think of that when you have, oh, it's whatever, I'm just having a little bit. If it's processed and ultra-processed food, even a little bit is killing you. We tend to think like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal. It's like smoking 1 cigarette. This 1 cigarette's not going to kill me, but it's causing oxidative stress and damage in your body. Having just a handful of Skittles or a Snickers bar or a bag of Doritos is already causing damage. Pretty crazy, right? Think about that when you make those choices. Inflammation is a big cause of many chronic disease. And what's right at the top of that? Sugar. What's in all processed foods? Bunch of sugar. You know what else is all in there? A bunch of damaged fats, a bunch of processed and unhealthy oils, and a bunch of toxins and additives. They're going to have food colorings, they're going to have dyes, artificial flavorings, they're going to have all kinds of chemicals, stabilizers, they're going to have your hydrogenated oils, your vegetable oils, your corn oils, your canola oils, your safflower and sunflower oils. And you know what's the saddest part? Is a lot of these things are actually in your healthy foods. your diabetic friendly foods, your low sugar, low fat foods, the ones that people at the top making the decisions are telling you should be eating more of, but they're full of the processed junk that's actually killing your body, which leads you to more disease and more reliance on medical care. Here's the top 5 worst foods you want to avoid at all costs all the time. Remember, even just a little bit is killing you. Fried foods that are fried in the damaged oils. You can fry food in coconut oil or avocado oil, but do you think that's what they use at McDonald's? No, that's not what they use at McDonald's. Do you think it's what they use at the restaurant that you go to? No, they don't. They, at best, maybe use peanut oil, but likely they're using hydrogenated oils. They're using vegetable oil most of the time. And when you heat it up, it makes it 10 times worse. So the effects are so much worse when you're eating it that way. Packaged and processed foods, you know what I'm talking about, all the convenience foods, what's in most grocery stores. Genetically modified foods, we actually have 10 reasons in this week's newsletter why genetically modified foods are killing you. Because of the toxic burden, causing gut damage, autoimmune disorders, cancer, metabolic diseases, so many things, because the toxic burden is so high in all GMOs. Artificial colorings, they're neurotoxins, they're causing damage to your gut as well. Artificial sweeteners are also neurotoxins, so all your non-sugar foods are full of artificial sweeteners, which are damaging your brain and nervous system. So these are the 5 foods you never want to eat at all costs, and the best way to avoid them is learn how to read labels. So here's 2 things that look relatively the same. They market it as healthier oil. Look at this, made with olive oil, avocado oil. So you're like, oh, it's got avocado oil. This must be one of the good ones. But then you turn it around on the back, and what do you see here at the top? Canola oil, soybean oil, sugar, modified cornstarch, canola oil, soybean oil. They just put it right in there. So don't believe the front. The only thing you can really trust is the back. So when you're looking at foods, don't look at, oh, natural and healthy and it's got these things. Read the back, because that's what tells the truth. And that's why we have this 5 Essentials book, because it has your guide to how to read labels, what are the good foods, what are the not, what are all the additives and junk you want to look for, so you become educated. Because who makes the choice on your food? Yeah. Who goes to the store, buys this stuff, cooks it? You. And if you're not cooking, then you need to change that, because you're not going to get it from the store. No one else is going to do it for you. You're not going to go pick this up. Simple lifestyle guide to follow for food, right under the nutrition tab. When you're asking yourself your choices, are you buying organic? Are you choosing naturally raised meat, dairy, fish products? Are you avoiding the processed foods, the convenience foods, going for more fresh, whole ingredients? Are we reading labels? Are we looking for the sweeteners, the dyes, the preservatives, the oils, and putting that in the no-go list? No, we're not going to get this. Even sometimes, ideally. For anyone who wants to make a change in their health, we recommend the advanced plan. If your biological age is older than your chronological age, you should be on the advanced plan. If you're looking to lose weight, reverse any type of issue, you have more inflammation you'd like, you should be following the advanced plan. The advanced plan removes the stresses that are causing the damage and the oxidative stress and the accelerated aging. It gets rid of the sugars and the carbohydrates. The only thing it really allows in here is some low sugar berries and fruits, so that way you're getting rid of the inflammation. And this isn't necessarily the forever diet plan, but it should be on for a while. Not just a couple of weeks, but until you get to your goals, until you get to your health freedom, you should be following this plan. Replacing all damaged processed proteins with healthier natural sources and starting to incorporate healthy fats as a big staple in your regular diet, because that's what's going to help change the hormones that helps your body burn fat. So just as some examples, again, there's many more examples in the packet you're going to get emailed and here in the 5 Essentials book. Just as a quiz, right side, bad fat, margarine, real or processed food? Processed food. French fry, real or processed food? Donut. Yeah. Crackers, it says processed in the name. Canola oil, hydrogenated oil. These are the fats that you commonly see in the standard American diet, the disease-building fats. Now, yes, you do want to avoid these fats. If you're overweight, have diabetes, have cancer, have heart disease, you absolutely want to eat less fat. You want to eat less or none of these fats. But these fats over here, these fats are life-giving. Salmon, wild caught, natural or processed. Yeah. Avocado that grows on a tree, whole or processed. Coconut oil that comes from a coconut that comes off of a tree. Olive oil that grows on a tree and is pressed, unprocessed. Right? These are pressed oils. They take them and they squish them and oil comes out. And then they put it in a jar. Right? The ingredient says coconut. That's it. Not 50 other things like you're going to see on this side. That's the difference. Foods that are naturally created, processed and prepared, foods that are artificially created, that are completely unhealthy for your body. You want more of these fats, you want less of these. And protein's another key one. That's the third aspect, is getting enough protein. Especially as you age, a lot of people don't eat enough protein. They think, oh, I only need protein if I'm lifting a lot of weight or exercising all the time. Your body needs protein for many major processes that take place. And if you're deficient in protein, it starts taking it from your tissues and from different parts of your body, which is how you end up getting muscle wasting. And that's one of the biggest accelerators of aging, is losing your muscle mass. If you want to age your body quickly, lose muscle mass. And that's going to also start to deteriorate your brain. One of the leading causes of dementia and mental breakdown is loss of muscle mass. That's why movement is so important. That's why we started with that. If you're not moving, if you're not getting the right foods, you're going to lose muscle. If you lose muscle, you're going to accelerate aging, you're going to break down your brain. It's just simple physiology. So when you look at it, it makes up your digestion. It affects your immune system. It builds your muscles. It affects your DNA. It affects your metabolism. And it even affects how molecules move around your body. Protein is essential. Every one of us should be getting at least half your body weight in protein per day. At least half. And you want to get it from good sources, because protein can also be a major source of toxicity. If you're getting processed protein, if you're getting standard raised protein, they're fed all the stuff that you avoid. They're given all the medications and injections and antibiotics and hormones and vaccines that you avoid. So you want to get healthy raised food. So that's why I use ButcherBox. ButcherBox is an easy way. There's other sources. This is convenient because it gets shipped to your house. Yep, exactly. What if it were easy? It's hard to eat right. What if it just got delivered to your door every month and you had to do nothing? What if you got free New York steaks for a year? How often would that be? Grass-fed, fully raised? What about free fillets for a year? Does anybody want that? Yeah. Scan this QR code here. That's exactly what you're going to get. Best quality source protein, and you're going to get a year free supply of steak. Pretty cool. That's through a partnership that we created with ButcherBox. So if you like free stuff, you want healthy food, scan the QR code.
Do you have that in here?
It's not in there. Let's talk about why this is so important. We're going back to hormones. Why does it seem like you do all the right things, but you still can't lose weight? Isn't that frustrating? I heard that so many times. I'm doing all the right things. I'm exercising, I'm eating, I'm following the system, but I still can't lose weight. That's because you have a hormonal problem. And one of the biggest hormones in weight loss is what's called leptin. Here's how leptin works. The standard American lifestyle that you lived before you learned something different caused you to gain extra weight. As you gain extra weight, the fat cells increase, and so the hormone leptin also increases in your bloodstream. And eventually, as you're getting more and more of a hormone in your body becomes resistant to it. So now you develop what's called leptin resistance. As your fat stores and inflammation increases, your body develops a resistance to leptin. Leptin is a hormone that tells your brain to burn fat instead of store it. That's why it's so important. Now you have this disrupted signal, and your body now gets the signal to store more fat, no matter what you do, what you eat, how you work out, how you change your lifestyle. And when your leptin is low, it actually tells your brain that you need to eat more food. So what happens is you start craving and overeating. And typically you're not craving the good things. You're craving the sugar, you're craving the carbs, you're craving the foods that give you that feeling of full. Now, as you increase your caloric intake, eating more than your basal metabolic rate, which is what your body needs to function optimally, well, you gain more weight. You create more leptin, and then the cycle continues. So can we see how this cycle can create imbalances in your body and struggles, real struggles with how you lose weight? So the only way to change this cycle is to disrupt it with a significant lifestyle modification. And that's not just, I'm going to fast a couple of days a week, or I'm going to eat a little bit less, or I'm going to, have more salads. That's not enough to disrupt the cycle. It has to be a significant intervention to be able to do it. When you make that intervention, it is proven to be highly effective as a metabolic reset. So one of the programs that we've used here, and you may have seen this previously, is the Chiropractic protocol. And the reason why I keep bringing this up is because we've seen so many people be really successful with it. Some people need to do it a few times to really get the true benefit of it. And again, what if it were easy to stick with it? The example that I shared with you earlier of all the amazing health changes, that was a patient who followed the Chiropractic plan and stuck with it for the full 42 days as recommended and continued into the maintenance plan. Losing 40 pounds, 9% body fat, going down from 8 years over chronological age to 17 years younger. That was following this system. And she'd done diet plans before, she'd done all the different things, but this is different. It modifies your behavior, it changes your diet, and it supports your body making those changes. And the most important part is there's accountability. How do you stick with it? Discipline is the biggest reason why most people don't stick with it. It's because they're not disciplined. They don't continue to do the things. When it gets hard, it's easier just to give up versus keep doing it and stay disciplined. So there's a very specific protocol that you do. You eat 2 meals a day. So you're actually restricting your caloric intake for a period of time to lower those leptin levels. So that way your body's not constantly storing fat. We're disrupting the cycle. We're doing fasting, we're eating less calories, and we're restricting the types of foods that we're eating. So very specific plan, only certain types of proteins, only certain types of carbs and vegetables, all low glycemic, all anti-inflammatory, nutrient-dense and rich foods. And these are all real foods. There's no going out plan. There's no restaurant version of this. It's specific following a program. There's no shortcuts. There's no Chipotle bowl for Chiropractic that exists out there. You have to do it on your own at home. No cheating. If you cheat, it's not going to work as well. You're not going to get the same type of benefits because you need to remove the interference to allow the healing to happen. And that's when we see it. We had another patient who did it. She lost almost 30 pounds in the first 6 weeks following the plan. So if you really want to get serious about changing your cycle, and if losing weight is one of your goals, this is a very effective plan to be able to do it. This is just effective or more effective than the results people get from doing the GLP-1s. It costs less. There is no side effects. And it doesn't create dependency. The good news about this, once you've reset your metabolism, you can follow a plan to stick with it. It doesn't just switch right back. As long as you don't go back to your old habits, your body will stay in this same type of cycle. And it'll change the system. So that way, when you continue to do the healthy habits, you continue to see the benefits of that moving forward. So we're doing a specific discount here today. Whether you've done it before or this is your first time, you're getting an additional 10% off and the discounts that we're having coming up for our Patient Appreciation Week. Highly recommend this. Really have seen it's helped so many people, not just with their weight, people who have been reversing diabetes, getting off blood pressure medication, getting off cholesterol medication, getting out of years of chronic pain, digestive problems going away, skin problems clearing up, brain fog and energy issues clearing up, because we got the metabolic system healthy again. We got out of the negative cycle that it's been in for years, sometimes even decades. And part of that is knowing your numbers. Do you know your basal metabolic rate? Do you know your body fat percentage? Do you know how much calories you should have to maintain, to gain, or to lose? Do you know your body mass? Is that going up? Is that going down? Knowing your numbers is so huge in any area of your life that you want to improve. Your health is no different. That's why we take an x-ray. That's why we review progress. Know your numbers. You should be measuring those numbers. What is your biological age? You want to know that number. What is your health numbers? What is your BMI? What is your body adapting to? How is stress happening? So as part of our event here today to help you get to your health freedom, we also have a 5 Essentials consult where we'll actually go through and we'll do your scan. What are your numbers? Right, that's the Tanita scan. That's your bio scan to know what your numbers are. You'll get that FSA, which is the 5 Essentials review. And we'll look to see what health plan is going to best fit your health freedom goals this year. So we have a sign-up sheet right here. Get that before you go. Normally this is $99 here in the office. We're doing that at no charge because you took the time to be here. You invest in yourself, we want to reward you. Make sure you sign up for that today before you go. We'll get you signed up for a time to come do your scan, look at your numbers, and review that with you. The next thing we want to talk about is how do we support these major systems in your body? And that's the foundational 3. As I continue to learn more and more about supplements, I still love the foundational 3. This replaces over 20 individual supplements you would take. These 3 supplements right here. It's still the most advanced supplement bundle that I've seen. I still take this every day. It's part of my regime. When I go out of town, I take it with me because it covers everything. It covers all the bases here. All the things that your body needs to slow down the aging process, to improve longevity, and get to health freedom. This is something I'm going to work on all the time because it directly addresses the stresses that we're all under consistently. Emotional, physical, chemical. You can't always change the stresses, but you can change how your body adapts. So part of that is the inflammation and immune support. Our immune system is constantly under attack. We're always around mold, biotoxins, bacteria, viruses. They're in the air all the time. They're around us all the time. What determines whether you get sick or not, and whether that sickness turns into pneumonia or you have a slight sniffle and it goes away in a day, is the strength of your immune system. How strong is your immune system? What is your immune system's ability to fight off all these foreign invaders? If it's really strong, you're either not going to get sick at all or it's going to be very minimal. If your immune system doesn't have a good defense, if you're under more stress than your body can handle, well, then you're going to get really sick. Now you're out for days, you're out for weeks. That's not just good or bad luck. That's not just avoiding it. That's what does your internal defense system look like? You support that with many different nutrients. That's what immune support is all about. The other thing is inflammation. Inflammation is the root cause of many issues, and stress causes inflammation. So how great is it to have your body constantly reducing and lowering inflammation with things like boswellia, with joint support from collagen, with nutritional support from vitamin D and vitamin K2. This is building up your joints, calming inflammation, helping your body recover faster. The next thing is your cells. Your cells are what make up your body. And one of the things that accelerates aging is what's called oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is when your cells are breaking down faster than they're building back up. That's oxidative stress. So how about supporting your cells? How about having antioxidants that protect your cells from this free radical damage? How about giving your body more energy to support the cellular cycle, right? Your citric acid cycle. When you're supporting your cells, they function better. They last longer. You have more energy. That's why you take the cellular health and longevity, right? These are bioavailable nutrients that help build up the health and function of your cells. And the last one is digestion and detox. Your gut is so vital. We have entire workshops about the gut, your immune system, how you absorb nutrition, how you process toxins. Your hormones come from the gut. The neurotransmitters from mood and focus in your brain come from your gut. We have so many toxins and stresses that insult the gut, from our food, environmental toxins, toxins in our clothes, in our water. It's all over the place. So how about a daily support to reduce the toxic burden and improve the effectiveness of your digestive system? That's what digestion and detox does. Clears the toxins, balances the gut, absorbs what you need, gets rid of the rest. That's why the bundle is so awesome. The Health Freedom Bundle. That's why I take this every day. That's why I plan on taking it long term. And I know the quality is really good. This is not stuff you're getting at the store. It comes from bioavailable farms, non-GMO, non-toxic, non-processed, fully organic. Every certification you get. 9 separate certifications for these supplements. That's why we recommend it. So we're doing that 20% off today. Definitely recommend that you're getting this and using it regularly. Stock up on it. There's no limit to how much you can get. We're going to order more as we run out. And we're having our Patient Appreciation Week sale next week as well. So we'll have other opportunities for nutritional support. Again, no limit to what you can get. Health is a choice. Are you investing in your health? People say it's expensive. It's $160 for the bundle, even with the discount. What does one going out dinner cost? $100, $150, $200. You don't think about that?
While you're doing everything or not?
You can take supplements during that time, yes.
The bundle? Great bundle.
You can take the bundle. There are some things that you want to limit or change how you do it, but you can do it. Maybe you do 1 or 2 instead of the normal 3. And that's why you're going to get guidance through that, so that way you can have those questions answered and you can course correct along the way. The third section is your neurospinal health. This is your nervous system. This is the master controller system. This is what regulates your metabolism. This is what regulates your digestion. This is what regulates how your muscles work and move. How your body adapts and heals is completely affected by your nervous system. This is why I love chiropractic. This is another study that shows how chiropractic helps your body better adapt to stress and slows down the aging process. So we have environmental factors, physical, chemical, emotional stresses. We're all under these all the time. These stresses actually affect your body at the DNA level, the blueprint of your body. Now, DNA is just that. It's blueprints. The expression of that blueprint is based upon your lifestyle. So let's say you have a family history of heart disease. That's your blueprint. So if you just did what everybody else does, you ate the standard American food, all the processed foods, you didn't exercise, you took the standard 2 to 3 medications, you had the normal stresses, your risk for heart disease is probably really high because you have a blueprint for heart disease. And so your likelihood of going into that heart disease expression of your genes is really high, higher than most. Let's say you have the exact same genes, but you follow the advanced plan. You get your 150 minutes of exercise. You take the foundational 3. You get adjusted regularly. You make sleep a priority. You minimize the stresses where you can. That churns off the gene expression of heart disease. Your risk for heart disease now is probably lower than your standard person. And you may never see the effects of that at all in your entire life. You can change your genetic expression through these things. And when it comes to aging, what they found was when you get adjusted, it affects a very specific chemical. I'm going to get it in here. Basically, what it affects is the telomeres that are in between the DNA, which is how the DNA comes together. And what happens when you get adjusted is it opens up your DNA and it changes the expression of what's happening. And it slows down that aging process, that oxidative stress. And then it closes it back up. Super cool. So every time you're getting adjusted, it's directly affecting your body at the genetic level. slowing down the aging process, building resiliency to the environmental factors that we have going on here. So the damaged DNA that causes mutation, ailments, and death is now optimized. So you're actually repairing the DNA. Pretty cool. Right? It's not just about back pain. It's not just about symptoms. We talk about this all the time. This is so vital and why chiropractic is often misused. 10% of your nervous system feels pain. Why do most people go to the chiropractor or the doctor or any intervention? Because they're noticing a symptom. They feel pain. They feel low energy. They notice that they have brain fog. They have a digestive issue. They have a hormonal problem. They're not losing weight. They're gaining weight. Whatever it is, that's a symptom. That's a feeling. That's 10% of your nervous system. 10%, that's it. 90% of what regulates your health, your longevity, your health freedom, you don't feel. Your muscles, your autonomic system. That's why regular chiropractic adjustments is so important. That's why I plan on getting adjusted for the rest of my life. Because you're optimizing the entire nervous system, not just focusing on the 10% that you can feel. You're changing your DNA. You're changing your genetic expression. You're changing how your body adapts to stress. So the difference between pain relief care, 10%, this is what most people do. Right? This is what's on your insurance plan, your 8 to 12 visits a year. This is what we get at The Joint, are these places where you just walk in, there's no analysis, you get a back or neck crack. That's affecting you on the 10% level. It's not affecting the long-term change. It's not changing the structure or function of your spine long-term. Therefore, it's not creating long-term benefits to your nervous system. You get the short-term benefits of decreased pain, but you don't get the long-term benefits of better neurological function. This goes to show exactly how that works. So one of the ways to determine the health of your nervous system is to look at your posture. This is what natural posture looks like. This is what we standardly see. So if you walked around, went to the mall, for example, how many people do you think are going to look like this? How many are going to look like this? Probably most people. Again, you're like most people. You have horrible posture. You eat the standard American diet. You don't exercise. Your body's full of toxins. What does that mean for your genetic expression? What does that mean for your aging potential? What does that mean for your health freedom? What are the stresses that cause this? Well, here's a big one. Everywhere you go, what do you see? You see a lot of this. We're so disconnected, so disengaged everywhere you go. Doesn't matter where it is. It's the gym, it's the store, it's the mall. You're out to dinner, you look at a table, 3 out of 4 people are got their head down on their phones. Well, this isn't just bad for your brain. This isn't just an unhealthy habit. It's also structurally debilitating to your spine. Your head weighs anywhere from 10 to 15 pounds in a neutral posture. Just 15% forward, which is just a slight, just looking down. That goes all the way up to 25 pounds. This is what most people do. When you look at them, they're really like this. So we're talking 40 pounds, we're talking 50 pounds. Now, just structurally, do you think that your muscles are designed to carry 50 pounds when your head's supposed to weigh 10, 12, 14 pounds? No. So does it make sense why you might develop stiff neck, pain into the shoulders, headaches? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Does that mean you need more massages? Does that mean you need to stretch it a bunch more? Does that mean you need to take muscle relaxers or anti-inflammatories? Any of that going to fix the problem? Nope. Can it get symptomatic relief sometimes? Yes. Can you have really tight muscles from a loss of curve in the neck, get a massage, and feel better? Yes. But what's going to happen next week? Same problem. 100%. Can you take ibuprofen and your stiff neck feels better? Yeah. Can you take a muscle relaxer and get up and go to the gym that day? Yeah, you can. But what about tomorrow? What happens? Problem's back. So it's all about how you use the resources available. Can you have these very same problems? Go to a chiropractor once a month. Get adjusted. Feel better. Is that going to fix the problem? Nope. What's going to happen next month? I see people like, I've been going to chiropractor for 30 years. We look at their x-ray. Still looks like this. Now, if you come in like this, when you start, you're likely not going to get over here because it's too late. There's too much damage. There's degenerative change. There's fibrotic tissue buildup. That's why it's so important to get on these things early. When you get to it early on, before all that degeneration and damage sets in, you can get back here. And then you can stay here. So the goal is to get as good as possible. Here's more reasons why. We talk about the arc of life. That's a normal curve. What's loss of curve called? Dead man's curve. Forward posture results in loss of vital capacity. Most important, your lung capacity. As much as a 30% decrease in lung capacity when you have forward head posture. The number one postural shift. It's such a big deal. Leads to heart and blood vascular problems and is a direct increase in all-cause mortality. So just a shift in your posture is going to age your body quicker and is going to increase your risk for chronic lifestyle-related disease. And it's directly proportional, which means the worse it is, the faster it declines. So we see some of those people that their posture looks like this. What's that doing to their health? Yeah, you don't want to start doing that when you're 85. First time to start getting adjusted when I'm now like this. That's going to help, but it's not going to get you back to that health freedom. You want to do it when you're 25 or 15 or 5 or 0. That's really the best time to start building that in there. And when should you ever stop trying to improve that? Never. Just like you should never stop moving your body. You should never stop eating the right foods. You should never stop taking care of yourself. That's a choice. You can choose to stop. You can choose to take a break because you're too busy or it costs too much. You can choose to do something less convenient because you feel good. But all choices have a consequence. You can choose to stop eating well, stop going to the grocery store, stop preparing your own food. You can choose to stop moving your body, stop exercise, stop taking the right supplements. You can make all those choices. But every one of those choices comes with a consequence. And where you end up in your life and in your health is a result of the choices you made. Whether that's good or whether it's bad. Sometimes accidents and issues come up. We all have those that are unavoidable, out of our control. But even when that happens, your ability to recover and get back is based upon your choices. The choices you made up to that point, the choices you make at that point, the choices you make into the future. So that's why we take subluxation so seriously, because it's not a back problem. It's not a back problem. The back pain is the effect. The problem is subluxation and the damage it causes to your nervous system. Irreparable damage, all the way down to the genetic level. If not corrected, will worsen, accelerate aging, and keep your body from adapting to the stresses that you're under.